this is Mackenzie. Hey, this is Owen. Don't forget to like our show and subscribe.
If you want to continue the conversation from the show, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/wearetheADHD Or if you're on Spotify, answer the poll question. The episode starts at 1 minute 15 seconds, or just hit your fast forward button once or twice. Did you know that the last residential school in Canada closed in 1996? To learn more, go to nctr.ca and challenge yourself to go beyond a land acknowledgement. Welcome to We Are the ADHD Family Podcast. This podcast is meant to chronicle our journey with ADHD, autism, and other discoveries along the way. I reach out to advocates, experts, individuals, and other families that want to raise their voices and empower those on their journey. My name is Mark Smeets. I am married to Siobhan, a parent to 2 wonderful kids, and all of us have ADHD. I want you to feel like you have power and hope. The other day I was driving Owen to one of his activities, and there was something I noticed off in the distance when I pulled into the parking lot, and I'm like, hey, Owen, look at that. And I couldn't tell what this thing was, had no idea, but, it distracted me, that's for sure. It was some sort of weird machine. Anyways, hooked up to a building. I can't explain it. But he goes, Dad, I stopped myself. What'd you stop yourself from doing? From saying the F word. So he then turns around and I'm like, no, Owen, I don't know. You don't need to say that. You don't need to swear. And then he goes, Dad, when am I allowed to swear? Kind of just hung my head. Thankfully, I'd already parked the car. Took a deep breath. When you're 18, son. When you're 18. The funnier part was when we went inside the place where his activity was, I mentioned this to the staff that was there, and apparently that's like the year 2042. So here I've got an almost 10-year-old, and he's gonna do, I think, what he does most, which is he's gonna do a countdown for the next 11, 12 years. Or whatever the number is. And it's gonna be every week or every other month or something like that. Dad, it's only 11 months until my 20th birthday. Dad, it's only X amount of months until this birthday. Just look. If I could look in the mirror at myself, I would just be shaking my head. Anyways, I wanted to share a funny parenting thing that I experienced because that's just funny. Things have a funny way of working out. You're probably listening to this on December 25th, in which case, Merry Christmas. Why are you listening to me? Go spend time with your family. End of episode. No, I'm just kidding on that part, actually. But seriously, wherever you are in the world, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope this past year, just reflecting on it, I'm going to talk about a New Year's resolution in a second, but just reflecting on the past 12 months of where things were a year ago, my gosh, what a change. I know I was not expecting to have this kind of a year, and it's been pretty awesome for me. I'm pausing from the ADHD in the work thing as I've had some big events actually happen, and I just figured, you know what, I'm just going to do a simple episode where I'm not going on about work and all that kind of stuff. So here's what I'm going to touch on. I'm not sure what order I'm going to do this in, but New Year's resolutions, I hate them. I do kind of want to say something about it though. I've got a little family update, or rather a personal family update for myself. This is going to be interesting. The swim update as well. And I think that's kind of the things I'm going to touch on. And one more thing that I did forget, we're taking a little bit of a pause on things. And that's partly why we're going to do the little retrospective thingy. So my plan as of right now is to take a pause for about I don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks or a month or what it is, but I won't put anything out for New Year's, and I'll probably maybe aim for like middle of January, near the end of it, to start putting something out again. But I know I certainly need a break. Doing these episodes, as fun as they are, as liberating as they are, they're tiring, and they can get exhausting as well, because my brain gets so amped up, and it takes a lot out of you to do the recording, but then you do the editing part, and that can take a while. One of the big updates is the swim program, the sensory-friendly swim times that I advocated for with the city, went live on December 4th. And my family and I, or at least I was there, my kids were in school because of the time that the city chose, but that's okay. But it was a really amazing experience. You walk into the facility and the lights are turned low. You go into the pool and the sound is minimal. It's just people talking, water splashing. There's no music, and it was so nice. It was just something where I couldn't believe what I had stepped into. And I actually did record a bit of a podcast episode on that experience, but due to all the time and how busy things have been, I haven't had time to edit and put it together like I normally would. But as far as the program goes, it's up and running. Today is December 15th. The next one is actually December 16th at one of the other pools in the city, and my family and I are going to go to that one as well. And it's further away, but that's okay as well. I am really looking forward to seeing how different the pools are. The other thing that was really nice was getting support from the Canucks Autism Network. And I mean, I do work for them as a support worker and coach for swim. But to have their organization pushing it is really going to help other things. So my big focus on the advocacy side of this is now switching to basically pushing parents, pushing families to email the city and make sure that the city keeps up with this. And they add more times, expand locations, and people don't have to go outside of their communities to find an experience like this, disability or not disability. And between everything else that's going on and trying to remember to post updates about that on various social media outlets, like, there's so much has happened. The other blessing that's happened as well as a result of this is being in the media for a bit and having the article in a whole bunch of newspapers, being on the news programs, and that's been massively helpful to raise the awareness. I also had even our school district here, they posted it in their newsletters and they made teachers and stuff aware of it. So it's just really cool to see the support behind all this. And aside from remembering to post these things, that's the other focus of my advocacy as well, is just raising awareness of what is going on and, doing what we can so we don't have to keep fighting for this, because it's not a hard program to run. It really isn't. I really want to say thank you to anyone who has emailed the city, who has listened to me talk about this, who has, who's going to be going to these events, and all the news outlets that have given me time on the air to promote this. And a big thanks to our city here as well, because this is helping. This helps. Taking down these barriers is huge. So that's it for the swim update. The other piece of news that is really quite big for myself personally, my parents this past week gave me my psych ed report from when I was 6 years old and when I was 8 years old. I had no idea I had a psych ed report. And I waited all these years to figure out that, to go through the ADHD process as an adult. But when I read the report, I'm completely taken aback. I see in the report of, and I'm not going to get into too many details because I was debating all of this, but I see a lot of the struggles that I had laid in black and white on paper in 1981 and 83 or 85, whatever it was. But I see those struggles written right there. And there are some comments that I even made as a kid at the time that they wrote out. And it just explains all of my struggles in life. In that work episode where I was talking about the two different voices in my head, for example, where I have that head voice and that speaking voice, and I feel like that they're two separate things. And my wife pointed out how articulate I've been. I did not know that I had a speech delay, and I'm not even sure what it's called, but I know I was delayed somewhere along there. It completely explains why I do feel like I have a disconnect between that head voice and that speaking voice. And I've always felt that. But now I know that it was identified back in this report so many years ago. My goal at this point is I intend to pursue a diagnosis of whatever comes up of it. And I'm trying to dovetail this into what's going on with Owen and what's not so much Mackenzie, because it doesn't feel like it fits there just yet, but definitely with Owen. What's really funny is that I asked my wife to read it, and we were both struck at how similar what was written about me in the 80s and what was written about him only a couple years ago. We're two entirely different generations. It's shocking, the similarities. So I have no idea if this journey is going to lead me to have let's see. Well, ADHD is for sure. There's a really funny part I'll read from the report in a minute, and you can laugh at that because I was laughing really hard. It's one of those how to say ADHD without saying you're ADHD. Anyways, but ADHD aside, the learning disorder, I think I have the either dyslexia or dyscalculia. I'm not sure. And also, I feel like that autism is on the table. And that would not surprise me at all. So I reached out to a bunch of people, and I want to figure this out. Let me read the ADHD without saying you're ADHD. It was observed by the examiner that when Mark expresses himself verbally, his sentence structures frequently are incorrect. The ideas to express are often lack continuity and cause the listener to wonder at the unexpected change of topic. So that made me laugh really, really, really hard. And yeah, I would say that's pretty much ADHD in a nutshell in some cases. Yeah, it was funny. It was really funny. There's also more than one reference to when I tell a story that I would take off on a tangent of some point that seemed to have absolutely no point. And again, that made me laugh. And the other reason I'm pursuing this is because there's also a line in the report. I mean, after going through everything, and I don't feel bad by reading this. This isn't a horrible thing, far from it. At the time it was horrible, yes, but I'm fast forwarding all these years later. I'm more than excited to go after it. But because I was held back that grade, I'll read you this, and this won't be easy to hear, but this is one of the reasons why I was held back. The person who saw me specialized in learning disabilities. In my opinion, he will encounter escalating difficulties in coping with class assignments, especially in math, if he is promoted to grade 3. It might well be that an added year in grade 2 would give him much needed time for integrating the various academically oriented skills for gaining a bit more maturity. He did not give any evidence today of embarrassment or humiliation or emotional distress when unable to experience success at certain tasks. This could indicate that he would manage grade failure reasonably well. However, the fact that he has a younger brother coming along who already shows evidence of better than average academic ability could put Mark in a difficult position if he were to repeat the year. That line of "this could indicate he would manage grade failure reasonably well" really upset me. Short of wanting to lose my you-know-what on this person, I would never accept something like that for my family, for my 2 kids, and that made me mad. Basically, you're saying to somebody, well, they don't seem to be showing any signs of emotion, so keep them back and see if they mature. Like, how dare you? I'll give you the other piece of the story to this is when I was going through the graduation for grade 3 for like that first time, when I was held back, the thing that killed me was the school did a little graduation ceremony, and I was at the graduation ceremony, but I wasn't allowed up on stage. So I watched all my friends who were leaving and going on to the next grade, and I wasn't with them. And that was it. I was in the audience. I remember I was crying. I do remember the experience very well because it was traumatizing. And that was pretty crummy. I have no idea if my parents knew about this or why the school thought it was a good idea for me to be there that day. Like, what a bunch of uncaring, horrible people. And I don't want to say, well, that was the 80s, right? That was the time. That's things that went on. No, we've been good human beings since the dawn of time. This is not good. This is brute. This is horrible. Anyways, let's leave it there at this point. I am very excited to pursue this. I am very excited to get answers that I wish I would have had for most of my life, but I can't change the past, but I can only change going forward. One thing my parents did tell me, which I think is important to mention, is they didn't pursue things further because they didn't want me to have a label, and also they didn't want me to be labeled. For those of you that know me, I'm the complete opposite of that. If you don't label things and if you don't call things out, then that just hides the disability. It increases the shame, it increases the stigma, and people can't be their authentic selves. Regardless of what I would have gotten on some sort of intelligence score back when I was 6 years old or 8 years old, means nothing. I only have to look at the things that I've accomplished in my life up till this point of 48 years old, almost 49, and go, yeah, I'm pretty smart. And maybe my brain works differently, and because this was hidden from me and I wasn't aware of some of the other challenges that I had and that I could have put a name to it, that could have changed the course of a lot of things. But I'm not dumb. Right? It reminds me of what I said in the ministry speech, right? Where people people have called me stupid. And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm smart. And I know I'm smart. And it's really disheartening for any family to sit there and be told, your child has such and such intelligence level and they fall within this, but they don't look at the strengths. And Owen was no different. On the first time we went to get his diagnosis, he had a very similar experience to what I did. I don't know if his scores were lower than mine, and quite honestly, not sure that matters, but I have a feeling they were similar, and quite honestly, big deal. That doesn't take away from the value that he brings in other forms and other methods, and how smart we know this kid is and how much heart this kid has. So he'll grow up the opposite way from what I did, which was, we tell him, and you hear this on podcasts, and if anybody who knows me and my wife, we're always saying, you can do this. Let's break those barriers down. Let's break down the steps. Whereas I didn't have that. It was, why can't you understand this? What are you, stupid? All these kind of things. Because again, I wasn't supposed to be labeled. So I must be all of those things if I don't have a label. I have now done this podcast. When did I launch this? Either late February or early March, whatever it was. And this is something where I'm really proud of myself for sticking with. It hasn't been easy, and there's been a lot of squirrels, because that's how the work episodes feel right now. Is that it feels like it's a bunch of squirrels, where I get this idea and I want to talk about this idea and I want to talk about that. But quite honestly, to have gone through all this the past year and put my voice out there and to speak up and to do that has been nothing short of awesome. One thing struck me the other day, and I'm really happy that I've stuck with this and I've found a really strong voice that I had within myself. But honestly, a person with a disability, okay, in my case it might be multiple disabilities, but whatever, a person with a disability produced this, wrote this, came up with it, structured it, put it together. I know there's a lot of people that are going to tell you, no, you can't do something in life for whatever reason. Don't believe them. Do it. Don't worry about this disability. Find a way to work with it. Find a way to turn it into a strength. If I think of the speech struggles that I had, it was me trying to find my voice, of trying to get those ideas out of my head. And those ideas have always been there since I was a little kid. And just because I couldn't speak it doesn't mean I couldn't type it. It took me a long time to be able to get the two voices to work together. But again, don't let someone tell you that you can't do something. And don't let someone tell you that because you have a disability that you can't do something. Just do it. It's your idea. It's a valid idea. And you don't need somebody else's approval to follow through with your dreams. And now I am joined by a very special guest. Would you like to say hello? No, you don't want to say hello? Well, that's not good, because, you're a special guest. I'm joined by Mackenzie. I don't know if she has anything to say. She just shook her head no, but she is patiently waiting for me to come and play. And she wants to, what was it that you wanted to do? Jello. Oh, the Jello I made is ready. And also, what was the other thing that we're going to do? Play Roblox. Okay. She's having a sick day from school today. I'm going to go check on the Jello, and I'm going to play Roblox with her. Wherever you are, have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Be safe. Yeah, you can say something. What? You say whatever you want.
Owen's at school.
Yes, he is at school. Do you want to say Merry Christmas on the podcast? No? Okay. Well, if she wanted to, that's what she would say. Anything you want to say?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll see you downstairs in a minute then. So until the year 2024, it's only in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to be that dramatic, but Merry Christmas, be safe, Happy New Year. Don't wait a year to start a resolution. Don't wait another day to tell someone you love them or you care about them, and tell others in your life how you feel about them. And each day that passes is one less day we have on this planet. So go forth, be awesome, keep advocating, keep fighting, and we'll do some new stuff in the new year.
Thank you for listening to our show.
If you're hearing this message, you've reached the end of the episode, and for that, I want to say thank you. I hope you have enjoyed what you've heard and are walking away with newfound knowledge.
We are the ADHD family.
See you soon for a new episode. If you want to be a guest on the show or know someone who would make a great guest, contact me through our Facebook page. This podcast is open to everyone. You don't need to be an expert, just passionate and want to see change. The opinions expressed by the host and guest are not associated with any employer or organization unless otherwise stated.